Dear students, my name is Dr. Amir Fawaz Zahoor, and in this video we will talk about the reactivity of carbonyl compounds. Carbonyl compounds is a very important topic because more than 80% of the organic compounds involve carbonyl chemistry. That's why we will study this today. So carbonyl compounds are basically compounds which carry this functional group in their structure. And in this functional group, if we see, oxygen is doubly bonded to carbon, and because oxygen is more electronegative, it will pull electron towards itself, and carbon would get partial positive charge, oxygen would get partial negative charge. So this in general molecule is electrophilic or electron withdrawing. So generally carbonyl compounds are electrophilic in nature. However, when they are treated with bases or acids, they can be made nucleophilic, but that will come later. So types of carbonyl compounds. In general, we classify carbonyl compounds into two types: class 1 carbonyls and class 2 carbonyls. Class 1 carbonyls, in this we have acyl group attached to an electronegative atom or group, and they are carboxylic acids or their derivatives, and this is electronegative atom or group. And importantly, this group can be replaced, so this group can be replaced by nucleophiles, and they are carboxylic acids, and their derivatives. And examples of these are acid halides, anhydrides, esters, carboxylic acid, carboxamides. And class 2 carbonyls, in this we have acyl group attached to hydrogen or carbon. So aldehydes, when we have hydrogen here, it would be aldehyde, and when we have carbon here, it would be ketone. So aldehydes or ketones are the examples of class 2 carbonyls, and in this case this group cannot be replaced. So in principle, carbonyl compounds can be classified into two classes: class 1 carbonyls, class 2 carbonyls. And class 1 carbonyl, in this class we have acyl group attached to electronegative atom or group, and generally they are carboxylic acids and their derivatives. And in this case the X group can be replaced, whereas in case of class 2 carbonyls we have aldehydes and ketones as example, and in this case hydrogen or R cannot be replaced. So we see the reactivity of carbonyl compounds. Before going into the reactivity, we should see the pK values of the leaving groups of conjugate acids of both the classes. Class 1 we have, for example, acid bromide, then acid chloride, then we have anhydride, then ester, then we have carboxylic acid, and then we have carboxamide. And from class 2 carbonyls we have aldehyde and we have ketones. So these are class 1 carbonyls, and here we have class 2 carbonyls. Now we see the leaving groups. So these are the leaving groups. Here we have leaving group, Br negative, Cl negative, Rc negative, OR negative, OH negative, NH2 negative, H negative, and R negative. Now we see what are their conjugate acids. This table is very important because when we would study the general mechanism of these carbonyl compounds, the basicities and pK values would be very important for us to determine the direction of the reaction. So now here we have Br negative conjugate acid would be HBr, HCl, this would be carboxylic acid, then alcohol, water, ammonia. In this case it can be other amine as well if we replace 2 with any R group, then hydride, hydrogen, and corresponding alkane. So now pK values. For HBr we have -9, HCl -7, carboxylic acid generally 3 to 5 or 4 to 6, and then we have alcohols 14 to 16, water 15.7, ammonia 35, hydrogen 40, and then alkanes generally around 50. So these are pK values, and these are the conjugate acids for these leaving groups present in class 1 and class 2 carbonyls. We should be able to remember all the pK values, and now we proceed further. So we start with the reactivity of carbonyl compounds. And for this we take the example of class 1 carbonyl. So this is class 1 carbonyl. For example, we have this, and we have a nucleophile here, and because we know that under neutral conditions we have carbonyl compounds as electrophilic compounds, and that is why this nucleophile would attack on this carbon, this bond would break, and as a result we will get this intermediate. Okay, here we can see this was sp2 carbon, and sp2 carbon has been converted into sp3 carbon in this intermediate, and that is why this is called tetrahedral intermediate. Okay, now as a general rule, when an sp3 carbon is attached to oxygen and it is also attached to an electronegative group or atom, then this intermediate or this molecule is generally unstable, and as a result it collapses. So in this case also this intermediate would collapse, and this negative charge would come back to make a pi bond, and now we have these two. This nucleophile having negative charge is also a base basically. So we have this base and we have X also as a base. Now we know that strong bases are strong nucleophiles. Also we know that strong bases share their electrons strongly and weak bases share their electron poorly, and weak bases are good leaving groups and strong bases are poor leaving groups. So as a result, among these two, the strong base would stay and weak base would be eliminated. So first condition would be nucleophile. If the incoming nucleophile is more basic than the existing group, so in this case nucleophile if is more basic than X, as a result X would be eliminated because it is poor base and good leaving group. and we would get this product. And we can see here acyl group has been transferred from X to nucleophile. So generally these reactions are also called acyl transfer reactions. So nucleophilic substitution of class 1 carbonyls are also called acyl transfer reactions. So this was one possibility when incoming nucleophile is more basic than the existing group. If we have the other situation, if the existing group is more nucleophilic than the incoming nucleophile, in that case also good leaving group would be removed, or poor base, weaker base would be removed. Here we will get no reaction because the incoming nucleophile is a poor base or weaker base as compared to existing group, so backward reaction would take place again and we will get the starting material, so no forward reaction would occur. And third possibility, in this case we can have incoming nucleophile with almost similar basicity as compared to existing nucleophile. If this happens, then we have X eliminated again and we will get a mixture of starting material as well as the products, and they would be in equilibrium together. So this is the general mechanism for the reactivity of carbonyl compounds class 1, and now we see some examples to get better understanding. For example, we have an acid chloride and we allow it to react with an alkoxide OR. So as we have seen the general mechanism, these alkoxide would attack on carbonyl carbon, and as a result of it we would get this intermediate. And now we have these two bases, OR negative and Cl negative, and we know the pK value of their conjugate acids. So the conjugate acid is alcohol, HCl, this is -7, this is 14 to 16. So in this case we have HCl as a stronger acid because it has lower pK value than alcohol. So this is stronger acid, and we know that stronger acid produces weaker conjugate base, and this is now weaker, therefore it would be eliminated. So O negative would come back and chloride would be eliminated because chloride is a weaker base as compared to OR negative, and we will get this ester as a product. Okay, now we see another example. For example, we have this anhydride and we allow it to react with a chloride as nucleophile. As a result, we will get the intermediate, and we will get this. Now we have two bases, potential leaving groups, chloride and carboxylate, and for this we have HCl, and for this we have carboxylic acid as conjugate acid. And HCl has pK value -7 and carboxylic acids have pK 3 to 5 or 4 to 6 as reported in different books. So because HCl is a stronger acid, and that's why it would produce a weaker conjugate base chloride, and this base would be stronger than chloride. So as a result, this will come back and chloride would be eliminated and we will get the starting material. So it means no reaction. So generally when we write reactants here, it does not mean every time we have to make the reaction successful. Rather, we have to see the mechanism and we have to see the factors which govern the forward reaction. That's why in this case we have chloride as a weaker base and carboxylate as a stronger base. So stronger base would stay and weaker base would be eliminated from the molecule, and as a result we will get starting materials back, and in this case no reaction. Now we see the reactivity of class 2 carbonyls. For example, we have an aldehyde or ketone, and we allow it to react with a nucleophile, for example Nu negative. Again, it would attack on the electrophilic center, that is carbonyl carbon, and this bond would break, and as a result we will get this intermediate. Now in this case we have here R group, and it has same electronegativity as that of carbon because it is also carbon. Therefore there is no potential leaving group, and as a result this intermediate would stay as such until we quench it with acidic water. So we will get this product. In some cases there is also possibility that because of acidic conditions this OH gets protonated, and lone pair of nucleophile, if are present, they can cause the water molecule to eliminate, and we can also get elimination product as well, like this. So generally the class 2 carbonyls, they give addition reaction or addition elimination reaction. So class 1 carbonyls, they proceed via nucleophilic substitution reaction in general, and class 2 carbonyls, they proceed via addition or addition elimination reaction. So these were the general mechanisms. Previously we discussed the reactivity of class 1 and class 2 carbonyls as electrophiles, and we saw the mechanism with some examples. Now here we see the reactivity as nucleophiles. So carbonyl compounds. In general, carbonyl compounds under neutral conditions are electrophilic in nature, and this is due to oxygen being electronegative atom, and as a result it pulls electron towards itself, and carbon of carbonyl group gets electrophilic. However, when we add acid or base, the trend can change. In case when we have an acid, because it is with a lone pair of electron, this can take the proton, and as a result we get the protonated carbonyl compound. And because it is protonated carbonyl and oxygen is protonated carrying positive charge, and when an electronegative atom carries positive charge, it becomes more electron withdrawing, and due to this the electron density here is also lowered, and this proton shifts here, this shifts here, and we get the tautomeric form enol. And I hope we are aware of this term enol, because we have a double bond, and for double bond we use ene, and for alcohol we use ol. So this molecule in which a carbon shares a double bond as well as carries a hydroxyl group is called an enol. So when proton is added or acid is added to a carbonyl compound carrying alpha hydrogen, this is alpha hydrogen containing carbonyl. When alpha hydrogen containing carbonyl is treated with acid, it gets protonated, and as a result converts to its tautomer known as enol, and this enol is nucleophilic in nature. And how it reacts? When an electrophile is added, this bond is shifted here and this attacks there, and as a result of this we get electrophilic substitution reaction or alpha substitution. And generally we have carbon based electrophiles, so as a result a new C-C bond formation occurs, C-C bond formation. And if we add a base, for example OH negative, to this carbonyl, and because it contains alpha hydrogen and this carbonyl group is electron withdrawing group, because oxygen is electronegative atom, it pulls electron towards itself and carbon gets partial positive charge. As a result it also inductively pulls electron towards itself, therefore the electron density on this carbon gets lowered, and this proton can be abstracted by the base, and as a result we get this anion, and this can shift here and this can shift here, and we get this anion which is called enolate. And why it is called enolate? Because here we have the carbon which carries a double bond, and also it bears an oxygen with a negative charge. So because it's anion, so this is called enolate or enolate anion. This enolate anion or enolate is also nucleophilic in nature. It can attack from this carbon and it can also attack from this oxygen, because both of these centers or atoms carry negative charges. So it means enolate is ambident nucleophile. But generally it attacks from the carbon atom, because we know that hard acids prefers to combine with hard bases and soft acids prefer to combine with soft bases. So we know this rule. So generally carbanion is used as nucleophile, and it reacts, and as a result we get this product. Now if we compare, both the products are same. We can summarize that in general carbonyl compounds are electrophilic in nature, but when acid or base is added, in case of acidic conditions enol is formed, in case of basic condition enolate is formed, and both are nucleophilic in nature, and they react with electrophiles to give alpha substituted product, both cases. And this is an excellent way to form C-C single bond, carbon-carbon single bond. Now we see some examples. For example, we take this alpha hydrogen containing carbonyl and we treat it with a base, and as a result we get enolate, and this enolate can be allowed to react with an electrophile, and most common electrophile is alkyl halides, and it can shift here and this would attack here. Or we can use this form as well, it would attack here and it would be eliminated, and as a result we get this product, this alkylation. And here we can see this new carbon-carbon bond has been formed. So enolates are excellent nucleophiles for the formation of new single carbon-carbon bond. And before proceeding further, we should know the choice of bases. There are different types of bases which can be used in a reaction, and if we list the bases, common bases are hydroxide, ethoxide or methoxide, both are of same class, and then pyridine, triethylamine. Then we have some special bases, LDA, LHMDS, LTMP. LDA is lithium diisopropyl amide, and LHMDS, lithium hexamethyl disilazide, because two silyl groups are present here. And another one is lithium tetramethyl piperidide, lithium tetramethyl piperidide. Now we should know how these types of bases are formed. In general, they are allowed to react with N-butyl lithium. We know that the pK value of corresponding alkanes are around 50. So it means they are extremely or very poor acids, and it is very hard to remove proton from them. So in that case, if we are somehow able to abstract a proton from alkanes, it means the conjugate bases would be very strong bases, very strong bases. And these bases can also abstract proton from amines, which have generally pK of from 35 and onwards. So N-butyl lithium has an N-butyl group which has negative charge, and it can abstract this proton. So as a result, this proton is abstracted, Rn negative, and lithium, due to electrostatic force of attraction, would surround this negative charge. We get this, and N-butane is also formed, and it is converted to corresponding alkane. So this is the general method by which these type of bases are formed. We treat N-butyl lithium with amines, and in these cases amines act as NH acid because the proton has been abstracted from the nitrogen, therefore they are called NH acid, and after the abstraction we get this amides, lithium amides, and we have these three types of bases which can be used. Now we have to see the reason why we have to use these sophisticated or very strong bases. For this we have some reactions. Now we see why N-butyl lithium cannot be used as a base. For example, we treat it with a carbonyl compound, and we know that strong base is a strong nucleophile, so it is so strong nucleophile that it can attack here, and as a result of this we will get this one. And now this complex is formed due to the reaction of the addition of this butyl group to this carbonyl, and this cannot be reversed. This is not a reversible reaction because here we have carbon, 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 so all are carbons, and as a result of the quenching we can get only the tertiary alcohol, corresponding tertiary alcohol. So therefore N-butyl lithium cannot be used as a base because N-butyl lithium can attack on the carbonyl center and react as nucleophile rather than as a base, and that's why we need to make other strong bases which are sterically crowded or sterically hindered to protect them from nucleophilic addition reaction. Next we want to see what is the comparison of these bases with, for example, these bases. For example, we have this carbonyl compound acetone, we add ethoxide and we treat it with this carbonyl compound, so it would take the proton and we will get the enolate as well as conjugate acid of this base, which is ethanol. Now if we look closely, this has pK value around 20 and this has pK value of 16, 15.9 or 16. When the conjugate acid is more strong than the acid present here, in that case backward reaction would occur. As a result, the reaction would be more towards the left side, more towards the starting material than towards the end products. And if we see the ratio, because we have a difference of 4, so 4 units, so if we add 4 zeros, almost 1 molecule of this would be formed as compared to 10,000 molecules of this starting material. So it can result in self-coupling. So self-coupling can occur if we use weaker base. So if we use a stronger base whose conjugate acid is still basic enough, then that would give only forward reaction. For example, if we add LDA, lithium diisopropylamide, to this, we will get this enolate plus diisopropylamine, and its pK is also around 36-37 and its pK is around 20. So this is still very much basic to abstract proton. Therefore this base is sterically crowded and cannot undergo addition or substitution reaction, and also it can abstract proton from here, and the conjugate acid, the conjugate NH acid, is still highly basic for backward reaction. So in this case only forward reaction would occur. So that's why we choose stronger bases and stronger non-nucleophilic bases depending upon the reaction conditions. So I hope you would be able to understand what we have discussed today. In case of any query or question, please leave them in comment box. Thanks.